Hello friends and welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me today. You will see I'm binding. I forewarned y'all about this, but get this, got another finish in July. How about that? So I'm starting off my finishing. Whoops, I almost did it, guys. I almost did it. I almost started this on the wrong side. So I'm just going to turn this over. And try to straighten it out over here. I'm letting it rest on I have a garbage can over here. I always start, if you're new and you don't know this, I will tell you, I always start doing my binding close to the bottom, but I leave about 12 inches of binding. And I do so at the 3/8 inch. Which the 3/8 on my machine is the edge of the, where the, what are they called, feed dogs or whatever, where the feet are. So we are going to take this slow. It normally takes me about an hour and a half to quilt. I mean to bind. I don't like this hanging over that, so I'm going to go on and put it up here. Got to get my quilts out from under the table there. But I do like to try starting this out close to the bottom so it gives me, okay, my foot's caught on something, my pedal down here is caught on something. There it goes. Got to get some looseness here because it's kind of pulling to the side, to the wrong side. And I hope y'all are doing great today. I hope y'all have a finish on your machine. Do you have a finish going right now? Are you finishing a top? Are you quilting? Finish a quilting here. Let's see, I think what is tonight? Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? I think it's Wednesday. So when I'm sewing this, I believe it's Wednesday night. I believe. Tomorrow is the 31st. So that will be Land That I Love. And y'all will see this video on the 31st. So we are getting it done just in time. Now when I trimmed this quilt, I trimmed it a little bit different than I normally do. I have this border right here, and I measured it at 4 3/4 inches from the inside line here. So it's 4 3/4 all the way around from the inside seam. I figured that would be the easiest way to know that everything measures correctly. I don't want that falling off the table back there, but normally the part that takes me the longest is once I fold the binding over and I'm sewing it to the front. I am using, this is not Dove, it is a, well, the thread I'm using is not a Orifil thread. It is a Superior thread, and it's similar to the Dove. I have a big cone of it, so I'm using that before I go to anything else. Okay, I do cut my thread here on the corners because first off, I don't want to break my needle in this process, and I don't want to have a big stretch of thread out here either. Okay, so now I'm going to have a long side here of this quilt. So it is going to be in my lap. It is going to be heavy. And it will very likely pose problems for me sewing it. Okay, I will show you what I've done. I sewed off at an angle to the corner right here. I take my binding and fold it up. I make sure this side here is parallel to this side. So then when I fold it down, I make sure the fold is right even with that top edge. And what I do is I just slide it up there next to that 3/8. I hope this will push through because it is thick. There it goes. I start all the way at the back of the seam. Not seam, fabric. I start all the way at the edge of the fabric. I'm going to see if I can let the machine do the pulling, and it's probably not going to because I've got a lot of weight here. I've had people tell me they throw their quilts over their shoulder. I can't because I've got a mic here. So what we just have to do is fight with it until we get it done. But I do, most of the time I hold it in the back, on the back side of the foot to make sure, because it's trying to pull and I don't want that to happen. I'm trying to get it in a comfortable fashion here where I can sew with it and it not be pulling the fabrics. I just pull a little more out, roll a little more off of my binding buddy here. I love these things. I need more of them. I only have the one and I need more of them. I wish I could find some more like this, but I can't find any more like this. I don't want a plastic one. I like this wooden one. And I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible for you guys, because who wants to sit and watch an hour and a half of binding? But this quilt is from one of our Saturday sew-alongs. It is the Preppy quilt. This was from, I don't know if it was Christmas or January, but I feel like I completed this quilt at the retreat or before the retreat with Kristen at Icy Stars Quilting. I have gone to her spring retreat in Quitman, Texas 2 years in a row and just absolutely loved it. And I'll probably be going again next year. I have molded over in my head doing a retreat myself, but I don't think we have a quilt shop that could provide the needs that we have, like chairs. The only chairs at the place that I would know to do this at are like the hard metal and plastic chairs. They're just not real good chairs. Definitely not to sit in for a long time. And I don't think I have a place that, could facilitate that. But it is a great place to go to visit. And if you don't mind sitting in hard chairs, which I know I can't sit in a hard chair to sew. Okay, I've got stuff pulling here. I see what happened, why my machine was so slow. I moved it and I bumped my speed on here. On the Berninas, I don't know if all machines have this. You have a slide on the front, and you can adjust your speed to where it on, like right now it's on, let me put it on the slowest. I'm going to press the pedal to the floor. That's as fast as it will let me go. Now, this is midway. I'm not trying out the fast. I don't need to know what the fast does. The midway is good for me. It works. It goes fast enough that it could get out of control real fast for me. Oops. It looks like okay. I've got to pick my needle up and go back. I got off track here. So what I'm going to do, I went back to 1/4 of an inch, and I didn't need to do that. So I'm going back and I'm going to sew it at that 3/8 that I needed to sew it at. Oh, gracious. My needle came unthreaded because I I cut it too close to the needle. Okay, y'all, I think I figured out how to get the needle threader to thread. What I do is I hold on to the end of the thread. Y'all might have just saw that. I hold on to the end of the thread when I hit that needle threader. And no, I'm keeping my fingers on the outside of the feet because I have taken a needle to the finger. And do not want to do that again. Okay, so we're coming up on our first full row, our full side completed. And what I'm doing here is lining up. I don't pin any of my binding. I might should, but I don't. And now the quilting on this is just absolutely beautiful. It's Jingle Bells. And I don't know if this is one Miss Ava had showed me or told me about, and I trust her decision. Plus, I'd rather use a design that she's familiar with and likes to use and that she's comfortable with, because that way when she quilts, she does my long arming. When she quilts it, she's comfortable with it and knows what to watch for. Okay, so here we go, turning again. Once again, I sewed off of this corner right here, flipping up, making sure that I'm pulled where this side is even and this side is parallel to that side. And then when I turn down, I make sure that the fold is even also. So I'm going to get this under the sewing machine. And I feel like I'm not quite centered here with you guys, so I'm sorry if I'm not. But I'm over this far so I can get as much of my quilt on my table as possible. One day I will have my dream sewing room. One day. It may not be anytime soon, but one day. I know a lot of people take over their dining room or place like that. My dining room is two in the open. I have a kitchen with a dining room like right next to it that's not divided off or anything. And then from the dining room you see right into my living room. The only thing that has a wall is between the kitchen and the living room. And the living room is the length of the kitchen and dining room in my house. So and I can't take over my living room because I got grandbabies that I sure love having them come over. For some reason it's feeling tight again. But you know, this is just part of quilting. You bend yourself in ways you don't even know you can bend. Trying to get a quilt quilted and bound and, you know, all the things. Okay, it looks like I'm about at the center of it now because there's my center line of the backing fabric. Oh, I need to check and see if I have enough fabric to do the backing on the limb that I love. I don't think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do a basic or a grunge on that limb that I love right here behind me. I have gray, and I'm thinking gray would be fine. But I don't know. I've got to get that ready, guys, because when y'all see this, the day you see this video, Timmy and I will be going live at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We do not know how long we will go. We're going until we finish the quilt. So that is what we're going to do. And what we're doing with the quilt, I still have to put my last row right here on. I haven't put that on yet. And it's Wednesday night. I may go ahead and do that tonight so I can get everything pressed and get it ready for tomorrow. Because what I will be doing is putting my borders on. And I need to go on and get my row on there so I can measure it out and see what size I need. Because they tell you what size to cut your borders. And I just want to make sure that is make sure my quilt came out the size that it was supposed to, because sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's not really a big deal to me. It's not. Now, sewing this on the back is really the quickest part, you know, step of this process for me. It's the folding over, and the other part, doing it on the front, is the longer part for me. Now, I do the 3/8 inch. I sew it at the 3/8 inch, so the front and the back binding pieces come out the same. I'm weird about that. I like things to be even and, you know, to kind of match. I guess I'm just weird like that. I don't know if everybody else is that way, but I am. When I bind, I want it to be the same on both sides, or at least pretty close. Pretty doggone close. And I think I have finally figured out how to do, oh my goodness, that is like way over there. Not even where it should be. I figured out how to join the two pieces when we come back around, and hopefully I have y'all close enough to where y'all can see it, but I will show y'all as best I can, because it's one of those things that I have to focus on to make sure I get it right. And I think kind of how I finally did it is I just started looking at it like it's just 2 strips of binding that I'm having to connect. And then once you realize that, it makes it a lot easier. You just have to picture how you put your bindings together. Okay. I can always tell when it's caught on something. Throw it up under that there. Maybe that'll help it. It'll keep that top up and hopefully where it'll move around. But the more I do this, I know the better I get at it and the easier it becomes. For my new people, I am only a 2-year quilter. I am not a experienced quilter. Now, I did grow up with my grandmother quilting, and I watched her quilt, but she hand quilted. I want to learn how to do that because I am going to be repairing and finishing her quilt blocks and quilt tops that she has. After my grandmother passed away, we found a box of quilt tops in her sewing room closet. So I want to honor my grandmother by finishing her quilt tops. Because I know my children don't have, well, technically, we really don't have a lot of any of her stuff, which we could have gotten whatever we wanted. She gave, I think she gave all of us a set of nesting Corningware or Corral bowls or whatever it is. It's those that are outrageously expensive now. If you find a set, what I want to find is the melamine bowls that she had. She had a nesting set of melamine bowls that I just loved. And I remember when I was moving up to junior high school, or 7th grade, we moved into her and my grandfather's house. Because my grandfather, he passed away when I was 6. And my grandmother had moved into my aunt and uncle. It was my uncle's mother and father's house. Well, it was actually my aunt and uncle's house that his mother and father moved into in their older years. And my grandmother moved in it after his parents, my uncle's parents, passed. Because she was we called it the home place or the farm place, the farmhouse, because she was up here by herself. And I say up here because I actually live at the end of the driveway of that house. Now, we moved into that house when I was going into 7th grade. And it was an old house, very old house. But my grandmother had some things that were still in there because my uncle's parents had left some things in their house. And I guess she just wasn't going to bring it all, and she just left some things there. But when we moved in, there were these melamine bowls. I guess they were there when we moved in. I don't know it. But I just remember these melamine bowls. And yes, I know Pioneer Woman has a set of melamine bowls, but it's just not the same. My grandmother's, hers were like the lavender and the gray, and they weren't these bright colors you find now. But I loved those bowls. I know they were my grandmother's bowls because I can remember my grandmother having them on her dining table and having like butter beans and peas in it. But I would love to find that bowl set. That would be so nice to find. But they probably want an arm and a leg for it. Because now, like, you can't get whatever, I guess it's called Corningware or whatever. You can't get that stuff at a decent price. Now they want $30 for one bowl. That's ridiculous. I'm probably sitting on a gold mine and just don't realize it because I have a full set. And then I actually have a little boiler. These were all my grandmother's. I have the little boiler. I have like a serving bowl. I have a lot of serving bowls. I have some little individual bowls of it. I don't know what the patterns are on them. I don't really care, you know, because they were my grandmother's. I am a collector of vintage glass. I love vintage glasswares. The two glasswares that I really collect. I collect it's according to where you get it from. But what I have is Indiana glass. It's called Cubist, I think. They have some, I think, by Whitehall that's called Americana. But I do the olive green one. I love the olive green. Okay, so, wow. Y'all, I have talked so much I didn't realize I was back on my starting side. So what I'm going to do is roll this up. I'm going to give myself a good bit of space to attach the two ends of the binding together. But I will show y'all how I do that here in just a second. Some of you have already seen it a couple of times. Just bear with me. Everyone may not have seen it. Okay, so here's where I started. Yeah, I want to sew. I have to see how far I want to sew. The main thing is when you turn it like that, it normally, some of it gets under the table and it gets stuck. Okay. Maybe just a little bit more. I don't want to have too big. I don't want to have half of the quilt there because that makes it hard for me to tell if I've got it right or not. Because see, this is where I've ended, and look at, I mean, that's a big space there. I don't want that big of a space. But when I did that, I just messed it up. It made it too tight. So I'm going to do just a little bit more, probably to right here. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So what I'm going to do is pull my pieces here. I know I can actually cut this one out right here. I set a joint, and what I'm going to do is cut this end. I just cut a little piece off that end. They're still overlapping. I don't do a back stitch there. I just pull it off. Okay. I've got my little piece that I cut here. When I open this up, this is 2.5 inches. So what we are going to do, maybe you can see it here on the table a lot better. I mean, up here on the sewing table. I'm still going to lay that out like it's okay. So I just lay them over one another. I make sure they're flat. And let's see, which one do I want to do? Do I want to do the top one or the bottom one? Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this 2.5 inch piece. I'm going to turn it upside down because it's easier to see that. I'm going to line it up with the edge of this top piece right here. Now, I'm not cutting this one, just so you know, I'm not cutting this one. I don't have a pen right here with me, but I'm folding this back. I'll tell you what I can do. I can lay it on the end of this one here. This may be easier. I'm laying it on the end of this piece right here. Long way. See that? It's on the end there. I'm taking my binding. I'm making sure it's straight. I'm making sure it's tight. I don't want it stretched out. I don't want it real loose. I want it tight. So right here where the edge of this is on the other end, not this end, this end. I can see what line it's on right here. And I just cut that line. Okay, so now what I do, I take, now see, I only left a little bit on this end. I've got a lot here, but it's going to work. I'm going to show you. I take this. I have my clips here. I'm going to put more than one in here because that is such a large thing there. So what we do, now we've got our quilt laid out here. We take this edge here. This is going to be our bottom piece that's laid flat. And this is going to be our bottom piece that's laid across the top. Just like you do, what it is, you're like this. You're just opening up. And you're going to turn it and lay it down. I've got to get my pins. Okay, so I got my pins, my marker, and my marking tool. So what I do, now that I know how they have to lay, I line up here at the top corner. I make sure that's even right there. I get a pin and I poke it right into the top here. I don't put it very far. I just do it right there because I'm going to have to draw a line diagonal here. Oh, y'all, it sounds like it's raining. I hope I don't lose power. We've been losing power here lately. And then what I do is on the bottom, I put another pin. I don't put it all the way up. I leave space there. So when I lay it flat, I can take my marking tool and my friction pen. Y'all, this is the pen that came in the July Sew Sampler box. It's fabulous. I love this pen. It's that friction pen. So what I'm going to do is I've marked it. You see there? I've marked, I don't know if you can even see that, but I've marked it right there. I'm going to pull this up on my table. Now see, once I go to pulling it, I can take these clamps out. Main thing is to be able to get them up there. But now that I've got my clamps out, it'll come over here easier. I'm going to lay the fabric flat. I'm going to make sure it's not wrinkled up or anything there. Get my threads to the opposite side of the needle than the side that they're on where I cut it. Now, being that this is my short end and this is my long end, I do have, you know, a little room that I can work with here. So I am I'm lining up my point right here on my sewing machine at the center, and I'm putting my needle down right there on that line. So I'm sewing. Whoop. It's pulling a little tight here, so what I have to do is I have to adjust for that. Okay. I do not use the automatic thread cutter on my machine any longer. I think what has happened, I've lost a spring out of there, and it doesn't work right. So let me show you here. What I do is I take this and I pull it. And look at there. It does fold right. It's not twisted. And then when I pull my quilt, it lays down perfectly. So what I am going to do is trim this off right here. These scissors really don't like doing fabric, but they will do it. And I probably should have cut my iron on to heat up, but I didn't. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to just open that bind up, or that seam up, with my fingers there. Let me just go in and flip it. So when I flip it, I can open it here, and I can open it here. I'm making sure that stays open. I'm probably going to pin that. I just wish that would stay flat. You know what I'm going to do? This is my iron right here. I will iron it on top of the quilt here. It won't hurt anything. Where's my spray? I'm going to give myself a little spritz of best press right there. And I know I'm probably going to have some quilt police going, oh no, don't do that, don't do that. It'll be okay. Because all I'm trying to do is get that seam to stay open. Okay, and once I got it open, I'm going to lay this flat again. And I'm just going to give it a real quick touch. Yes, I know I'm doing something I shouldn't do. You should never press on your sewing machine table. But I think the batting is thick enough in this that it's not going to burn anything. But don't try that at home, guys. Don't do as I do. Don't do as I do. I say this a lot of times. This is for entertainment only. Very rarely will you learn anything here other than things not to do. Now, most of the time when I do my binding, that when I join, sometimes there's always a little pucker. And I know I do it correctly. I think what just happens is when I'm sewing it, I probably pull it and cause it to stretch out. So I cut a little extra off this time in the hopes that if I do that, that it will be okay. And it looks like it is okay. So there I go. I am all the way around. So now let's flip over. And start sewing it to the front. Now this is what normally takes me a good while to do. I'm just going to start by pulling that over. And I line it up at that 3/8 inch again, guys, and it sews right there. Okay, now that I have that there, let me get this turned where I can start pulling. And I do know I tug and pull when I'm doing my binding like this. I try to trim strings, but for the sake of time right now, I'm probably not going to do that, even though I did just trim a string. Oh yeah, it's 8 o'clock already. I kind of told myself I was going to start going to bed at 8 o'clock because I have to be up so early during the week to work. Okay, why is it making that knocking? I don't know why it's making that knocking sound, because I've not run over a needle, not run over a pin, and I'm just going to be very careful with it. I don't know why it's making that noise. I don't like it when it makes noises, but sometimes they just do that. It could just be because it's thick. I mean, it's a binding, and it's three layers of fabric and a double fold binding here. So I'm only getting a couple inches done at a time here, binding. But, you know, that's what it takes. You just do a couple inches at a time. And eventually, it'll be done. How many did I decide? 130 and 160. So, it's not 130. It's 160. Yeah, 160 and 130. So, all 290 inches of binding. So I'm getting close to the bottom, to the corner here. I'm going to go on and trim the threads, not the quilt, just the threads. And what I'm going to do, I make sure to push into that corner there, but I'm going to pull the bottom binding up. I don't know. I need to do it where y'all can see it, what I'm talking about. I pull that bottom binding up. And I will clip it, but I need to pull the side over. This way you don't have the bulk of your corner, your mitered corner, all in the same place. It's going one way on the back side of it, and it's going the opposite direction on the front side of it. So that just really helps with the thickness. Okay, so I'm getting down here to the bottom. Now what I will do, I will get my little snips here and put in that corner. I'm not cutting anything. I'm just pressing that corner down. To make sure that that stays flat. Okay, and then when I get into that mitered corner, I'm going to pull my quilt back around here. I'm not raising the foot up yet or anything, but I'm not putting any pressure on that needle either. So make sure not to put pressure on your needle until you get ready to turn it. But you're not going to put pressure on the needle. You're going to pick the foot up, because I think I'm going to do one more. There we go. I do one more stitch. And it probably could have one more stitch in it, but it does line closely up with that 3/8. So that's what we are doing here. Now see, it doesn't matter how fast I go on this. I'm only going to go like 2 inches before I have to stop anyway. Now, I could clip this and go all the way around, but I don't like doing that. I like working it as I get to it. Now, I did not trim my dog ears off. You can trim them, and you actually should trim them. I just haven't trimmed them off. Let me go on and trim them. I have two right here, because it does create a little thickness there that I probably don't need. And it makes it easier to fold it over if you don't have that extra thickness in there. Just a little at a time, taking it slow and easy. I know it don't look like I'm taking it slow and easy, but we've been at this an hour now. if I get this done before an hour and a half, that's going to be record time, because most of the times when I bind, it takes an hour and a half. Now, this, I don't know, it is a larger quilt, so it may take a little more time. Because most of the time what I've been making and binding is smaller quilts for my grandbabies. I'm hoping that's not in your way of seeing what I'm doing here. Now, I do use my dual control feed system. That's what this is right here. That just helps when you have extra thick layers and stuff. But I have found it actually just helps when you're sewing. Every now and then I have to lift my foot up to put the binding back under it, because sometimes it tends to roll up. And I'm just trying to keep it from doing that. It seems like it's going fast, but it's not getting anywhere. Okay, so I'm at my next corner, and I just push that batting up into that corner real good. I fold this over. I just try to do a hand fold. When I get to it, I will do a fold with the scissors holding that in, because I know I know that's not where it's going to be, because I'll need to do a tighter miter on that corner. Okay, so here we go. But I just like to get that first one in there, and I like to get this to that all the way. What I do is I make the blade to my scissor touch all the way down to the table. Okay. Find my corner. There's my corner. Once again, we don't want to put a strain on the needle. So we are just being very gentle here. Okay. Now we've got our pile of quilt right here. Y'all, it's a struggle, isn't it? It's a struggle. But it's a good struggle, because once you get that quilt finished, the binding done, it's over with, and you have a beautiful quilt. Because I know this is going to be a beautiful quilt. It's going to be one that I do use a lot at Christmas. I will probably put it up or put it out probably the day after Halloween. But I will have like fall blanket or fall quilts out, and I will pull this one out too. Right now, all of my quilts are stored in my spare bedroom, and I can't get to them because when I started organizing my sewing room, I put things in boxes and put them in there until I could get this room organized. Well, the organizing has kind of slowed down. Well, it did mainly because it had to. I couldn't. It's too big of a risk for me to be pulling boxes and all right now. But I will be working on it pretty soon. The first thing I gotta do is what is left in this room. I need to get it organized, gone through. Because one of the first things I need to do is get my computer desk done. The desk my computer is on is not where it's going to stay. Right there, that's my computer screen right there. That desk is actually going to be my shipping station. And I will put my sublimation printer over there. I have a very small, I actually took an Epson Eco Print and converted it to a sublimation machine, and ever since I did that, I've honestly never used it. I had one of the big Epson sublimation machines, but then everybody and their brother decided they were going to do t-shirts, and I just decided I wasn't, because when I started doing them, no one here was doing them. I mean, we had one lady that was doing the, she was doing the bleached out sublimation, you know, where you would bleach out a shirt and sublimate it. Well, that's what she was doing. And I wasn't doing, I was doing just plain t-shirts, because not everybody wanted that bleached out look. Guys, it looks like I'm running out of time. I've got to hurry up and get this done. But like I said, this one here is probably going to take a little more than an hour and a half, because it is such a large quilt. And I think I made it bigger by the borders also. I think I enlarged it. So I think this is actually the size of a small, like maybe a twin bed. I have a double bed in my spare room, and this would definitely fit on that bed. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, yeah, I had enough. I was sitting here thinking, maybe I was supposed to have doubled that. I did double it. I did double my numbers. And I was sitting here thinking, oh, I'm not going to have enough binding. All of my binding is actually on. Every bit that I need is on. I hope y'all are getting you a finish today. It's Thursday. When y'all see this, it is Thursday. It is my Friday, because I work off on Thursdays, and I have a 3-day weekend. I put my 40 hours in Monday to Thursday. It has been difficult. It has been hard. I think this is like my second week to be back at work, and it is getting easier. But like I said, I'm going to have to start going to bed a little earlier, because I've been in the sewing room sewing until all hours of the night. Okay, we're back to the next corner. Trimming some threads here and pressing that batting into that mitered corner there. And I'm not really pulling the fabric over tight enough, you know, for a mitered corner, but I'm pulling it to where it is pulled over, and to where it's not giving me a problem, you know, because there on that corner, it makes it tight unless you have it folded the way you need it. Okay, so now I'm going to unclip it, get that laid flat. It'd be easier if y'all could see what I was doing, I know. And then I'm putting that scissor right in there too, and I'm putting the back. I'm not putting the blade part in there. I don't want to cut my fabrics, so no, I'm not putting the Okay, so now I have to turn it again here. Oh, I don't think we're back to the starting side, but we're either the side before the starting side or the starting side. I don't think we're on the starting side though. It would be great if this was the starting side, because that would be fabulous. I keep checking the time because I don't want to go too long, because I will have to stop it. Because for some reason here lately, YouTube has not been liking. Now I do the beta version that's on the Android for editing and things like that. But it has not been liking 2-hour-long videos, even though they get edited down to like 40 minutes. They are not liking that. I feel like I'm pulling the same piece over and over again when I'm doing this. Yeah, I just noticed that this is not the starting side, but it is the side, the last side before the starting side. And I think I started pretty high up on the binding. So I may not even have. Why is it making that noise? I just don't understand. It's got to be the thickness of this. And guys, I'm sorry I'm not talking very much, but I am just focused on getting this done. I'm singing a lot. You probably haven't. I'm singing in my head, but you're probably having a lot of ASMR here. I know if I was listening to this and I was in the bed watching it on the TV, I'd be asleep. Because this would put me to sleep. It definitely would. Next time I will remember when I sew my border to clip them ears off. Okay, so I'm getting to where that corner fabric is affecting my fabric up there, or my binding up there. Just gonna get it turned over. Like I said, this is nothing. I mean, that's not how it's going to be. That's just what I'm doing to keep it where it's folded over and not pulled. So here we go. We are doing this straight up there. I will get my little scissors and punch it in that corner there. Make sure we have a mitered edge right there. Okay, so now we are back on our starting edge. So guys, I'm gonna kind of do my spell. This is kind of the YouTube algorithm spell. Please give me a thumbs up. It does help my channel grow. It does help me in the algorithms. If you have not yet subscribed, please do. I am going to start incorporating more cooking and taste testing and things like that, recipes out. I will be putting it on this channel. And it's going to be my Eat to Live. I do have some new segments that I will be starting. Not new patterns, not new projects, new segments. It's like each day of the week I may have something, you know, like a little theme going on. You know how I have my sew along Saturday. I'm probably going to be doing some more days kind of like that. I will still be doing a sew along Saturday, even though we're not doing the same exact pattern. I will just tell you what it is, and we will sew. Well, I will probably sew for an hour and a half, but y'all will probably get about a 30 to 45 minute video somewhere in there. But if you subscribe, you can see all the fun things I get up to. August is going to be my month of whips. And guys, I sat down and did my calendar today. It's full. It is so full already. So, and it's fun. I have to say that it is fun. And honestly, I don't have a single new thing started in the month of August. I was thinking, well, maybe I could throw a little bag in here, or there, and I was like, maybe I can do that. But no, I got plenty of other things to keep me busy. And I hope to bring you guys along so we can have a month of finishes. Now, for this month, like I said, tonight, y'all will see, if you come over to Tammy's channel, you will see Tammy and I completing Land That I Love. Guys, I'm done just like that. But y'all will see us completing the Land That I Love. We will be putting borders on. I hope to be carrying mine to my long armor on Friday. I hope. That is my goal, is to take it to them on Friday, so I can go on and get it out of my room, off my table. Now, I know y'all can't see this, but real good, but I want to bring this to y'all. Now, look at that. How does that black look? It's got the little squares all over it. That makes all the difference in the world to that. Show you the back also, so you can see that. See if you can see that mitered corner there. That one don't look so perfect, but it's okay. So guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed sewing along and coming along with me on a finish. And once again, if you have not subscribed, please do. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you think. If you want to give some suggestions of things you would like to see. My August is full, but some days I may be able to do more than one video for y'all. So if y'all have little things that you'd like to see, feel free. Leave a comment and tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Bye, guys.